Kinematics of brain activity theory is based on strain energy as the media for flowing, encoding as well as recalling of information, either received from body and environment in the brain or internally produced within itself. The three aspects of information processing, input, processing and output, as well as being conscious of those ongoing stages form short-term images and long-term recordings of those images. Interaction between the short and long-term information creates the conscious state, which is different in waking or conscious from sleep, or subconscious and unconscious periods. In this theory, it is believed short-term modifies long-term memory structure, and short-term is also directed by long-term memory structure. Such a counter-influences defines the continuity of waking-sleep brain activities. Based on continuity of waking-sleep brain activities, here is a developing model that is being proposed, firstly to understand our dreams, and secondly try to develop a customized dream symbols dictionary for each individual. The existing dream symbols dictionary are general and are hardly meaningful as they only represent general concepts. The model is made according to the following basis. 1. The inputs during the day impose physical strains on the brain tissues which are viscoelastic material. 2. Imposed strains are either within linear range of stress-straining correlation or 3. Very stressful events impose strains beyond the linear range as strain residuals in some locations in daily pathways. 4. Increase of local strain residuals temporarily decay viscoelastic property of tissues and make the cortex outer layers to become more stiff and rigid. 5. Sleep is a necessity to recover the viscoelastic properties of the brain tissues. 6. Strain residuals will be partly absorbed by memory consolidations and partly by emotional reliefs in NREM and REM sleep stages in sequence. 7. Dreams are ongoing scenarios that accompany emotional relief stages, projecting as self-expression. The scene move patterns of the daily inputs are mapped as short-term memories. If coagulated short-term memory pattern does not match long-term memories at all, it will produce high emotional load. Emotional loads are mapped as strain residuals over the cortex with overstrain loads to the viscoelastic property of location of the brain, which produces motor action with a working memory as processed short-term memory. However, in a stressful event, mapped as short-term memories, the required activation energy for neural connectivity deformation and consolidation is overcome to create permanent deformations that encode information about the event. These overcoming potential strains may create new, strengthen or loosen the existing memories. Emotion in this interaction functions as residual strains, which had left by short-term memory and consolidate as long-term memory. Analysis of dreams based on the kinematics theory says that there is a strong connection between emotion theme, as it is between the stressful daily event and a relevant memory structure. Thus rational scenarios experienced in waking will appear in a different emotional language in dreams. An emotion felt in a dream can be the same or a decomposed emotion to the one experienced in the daily event, if the experienced waking emotion would be an advance emotion. As similarity in pattern of the daily events and dream narratives suggest the stressful daily event, through a related strain residual, to appear in the same night or a sleep period within few following days. Most of the dreams convey the daily event symbolically, just similarity in pattern, and few straight. This similarity in images can happen in shape of an insight during a nap or relaxed waking periods as well. Unmet needs means where there is no matching long-term memory unit with the daily events, seeking to satisfy a need. They impose naturally strain residual. Relieving of the unmet need strain residuals can be accompanied with the positive, relieving as images, or negative, consolidating as memory building, emotions. Dream note and analyzing format. The following and this slide ask for some information extracted from dreams and help to find matches, if there are, between the narrative of the dream, dreaming short-term memory, and waking, related waking short-term memory, when they have a same theme pattern and emotional load, although in different languages. Emotion and theme are the main component of a mental state. A brain activity can be more emotional or more rational, thematically. To detail a brain activity in a mental state, inputs and kinetic level of the brain wave are the determining factors. 1. Low kinetic brain waves are the brain waves initiated by internal input, herein called strain residual release. This situation happens in sleep or relaxed waking. 2. High kinetic brain waves occur when sensory inputs and or internal input is more stressful. This situation happens in waking. Sensory pains form basic emotions, and complicated internal inputs as conceptual inputs form advanced emotions. Internal inputs will mix with conceptual inputs and form short-term memories that may not be based on real experience. Emotion is defined kinematically as imposition or release of a strain residual load. An accumulating and releasing cumulative strain load is an overstraining climax, which should not go beyond the local viscoelasticity property, otherwise a brain tissue injury happens. As pain is an alarm to indicate a body part injury, an emotion also alarms the brain of overstraining. Emotion is followed by a strain energy release from overstrained connectivity tissues to protect them from injury and can happen everywhere in the brain. However, those connectivity tissues over the cortex layers need to be activated by radial amygdale strain, exchanging that is felt as an emotion. Emotion is involved in any stressful interaction within the brain, and it is one of dimensions for any brain activity if the related strain energy flows happen in nonlinear viscoelasticity of neural connectivity ranges. However, emotion type and intensity of it depends on cortex area and degree of storing releasing of strain residual. In a microscale, it is the deviation of a rest configuration of synapses in a place that interact with streaming strain carrier wave around the cortex. 1. If it goes within linear stress-strain correlation, information processing proceeds unconsciously. 2. If it goes beyond linear stress-strain correlation but before tissue's yield point, it will proceed subconsciously, would be perceived in images, like dreaming, and 3. If it happens in higher stress-straining ranges, it proceed in a conscious state, would be perceived and conceived, like reason in waking. Similar events and memory experiences will form a feeling fractal, an emotion type, and will be sensed as a circumstance. A circumstance is a matching patterns of short-term and long-term memories. Repetition of similar daily experiences will strengthen a formed long-term memory. A fractal structure of those similar memories will create a feeling of a specific circumstance around a type of need, physiological, safety, self-esteem or self-actualization, and the related emotion type. The brain during sleep expands a circumstance experienced as a daily event in dreaming narrative by using memory units in the circumstance fractal, where it changes slightly the circumstance fractal, long-term memory structure. Slight changes happen during NREM stage in sleep in locations and overall, in long-term memory bank. Releasing strains between memory locations is sensed as emotions, which are attached to the fractal units as symbols. In this process, a daily short-term memory will convert to a long-term memory within related memory fractal. Again, in both microscale and macroscale, the shape of firing fractal within a connectivity configuration structure and the resulting straining of connectivity during a memory activation or consolidation is connected to where the related neural receptor distribution are connected. Straining of neural connectivity that extends during a memory activation or consolidation can be defined as judgment value. In waking, long-term memories judge short-term memories by emotions, and in dreaming sleep, it is reverse. Judgment value may be positive, the short and long-term memories agreeable, or negative, not agreeable. Experiencing feelings both in waking and dreaming sleep are bipolar type by strain exchanges between the cortex and the limbic system. However, changing periods are very small in rational waking activity or dreaming, intermediate for normal emotional activities in waking and dreaming, or bipolar circumstances in mental diseases that changing periods extend for durations of few days. The overstrained areas gradually develop the cortex areas for encoded memory of similar circumstances, activity themes, or the same family memories. Since the same family memories are saved next to each other, any strain energy transfer through the location can recall a random memory unit or a serial of connected memories as associated memories. The amygdala connects saved memories of the same circumstance memories in a cortex area. Any perceived event encoded in the area will arouse the related emotion, either basic, like fear, pity, anger, or outrage, or advance, like love, sympathy, sacrification. Long-term memories would attract and judge the recent short-term memories. It means a working memory is attracted by short and a short memory will be judged with long memory of those which are relevant, saved in the same cortex area. However, changing shifting periods are very small in irrational waking activity, small in relaxed waking and dreaming, intermediate for normal emotional activities in waking and dreaming, but with large shifting periods in bipolar disorder that may extend to days and weeks. Although emotional activities are automatic, voluntary type of brain activities will proceed by having a goal memory that had been recalled and direct the activity accordingly. A circumstance or theme memory is cumulative structure of same family memories that arouse a unique emotion. The circumstantial memories, theme, are saved in the hippocampus, where emotions, in the amygdala, both within the limbic system. A combination of the two in a brain activity is the source for variety of scenarios, scenes and moves along streamlines. In dreaming sleep, it is called the image center of the dream. It determines brain activity characteristics, like selecting process in sensory cortex, refining inputs, in thalamus, providing a theme from the hippocampus, and a feeling from the amygdala to the activity. It appears as knowing in dreams, and expression and motor action in waking. Circumstantial memories are coupled with types of emotions, in general. Activation location in waking time and sleep is correlated. Intensity of strain residual and dreaming vividity are correlated, indicated by REM and NREM layout in a sleep period. The model predicts that, to have a pathway activated by a sensory or internal input, the received location in input zone needs to be excited to a minimum required activation energy threshold. It is the same for dreaming and consolidation in sleep. This depends on emotion as streamlines attractor and theme memories. If the condition of achieving a minimum required energy to activate, the strain residual would not be released and will remain trapped on the location to be recovered in next regeneration periods, or if remain trapped for a longer term, it will show itself as a disorder. After sleeping, automatic thoughts may happen in continuation of remained strains by traces of strains created in the dreams themselves. Metabolic activities and cellules oxygen capillary will also interact with local strains to recover, and if oxygen supply will not be enough, it may limit or redirect brain activities. The ratio of internal to external inputs differ in waking to sleep time from lowest in waking to highest in sleep. Feeling sleepy is related to accumulation of higher strain residuals and strain-saturated cortex layers that reduce strain wave kinetics. Very high stressful days may be followed by having sleepless nights or frequent interval waking, because releasing internal inputs are so intensive that keep brain waves in high kinetic mood as waking. Less sleep reduces brain activity efficiency, and a record of highest number of days without sleep before going to coma is known to be about 11 days for humans. Changes in viscoelasticity property of the brain tissues by aging will change the required hours of sleep, as well as the ratio of REM to NREM durations. Old persons build less memories, as well as forgetting faster because of neural assembly connectivity loss. While for a healthy brain waking and sleep hours are correlated, longer sleep than required may have reverse effect on the brain efficiency, by not wanted changes in memory structure. Internal input by trauma and shock may deform permanently some connectivity as a disorder, as it is genetically so in schizophrenic patients. Try to write a record of your dreams, if not in detail the key scenes and moves and attached emotions. Attach the 4 questionnaire sheets, slides 5 to 8, for the dream. You will be inspired for unfolding connections for the waking sleep continuity of brain activities. Share your finding with us by sending your comments and questions to mose.dini@gmail.com.